The short answer? These are great. Hey guys, my name is Mykee. I'm one half of the Kicks, Vibes, and Life sneaker podcast, and welcome to Footnotes. If you're new to this channel, or if you found out about this video by chance, Footnotes is a segment on this channel where we give you info on sneakers, brands, and more things that go on within sneaker culture. However, today's episode is going to be a little different because we're going to be doing it in two parts. The first being an actual first on the channel because I'm going to be reviewing a pair of shoes that I recently picked up. I have never done this before, so please do bear with me as I try and give you guys as best and as insightful a job as possible. I also want to use this review as a jump-off point for my thoughts on Kanye West's line with Adidas. With that being said, let's kick off this review of the only Yeezy model I've been interested in getting all year, the Adidas Yeezy Quantum. As of this posting, the Yeezy Quantums are still available here in the Philippines through a couple of retailers. So do check with Commonwealth and Soul Academy if they still have your sizes in stock. Before we get into the shoes, check out the box for a bit because it's huge. Aside from the size, in terms of design, it's pretty consistent with the boxes of all the Yeezys that have released so far. On top, you usually see a model number, but in this case, it's a name. Since this is a Quantum model, you have the word Quantum spelled out without vowels. Quantum. On one side, you have the word Boost in all caps, the words Yeezy Quantum and made by Adidas on the slide-out portion of the box, and on the opposite side, you have the same text accompanied by the label. As you can see from the label and the title of the video, I picked these up in the Teal Blue colorway. Originally, the colorway was initially called Ophonym, but given the history behind the name, that was changed to Teal Blue on grounds of diversity and inclusion. I think I've mentioned enough about the details of the box, so it's time to get into the shoes. From what I know, there are two kinds of Yeezy Quantum models. One that's geared towards performance, and one that's more for lifestyle and casual wear. To the naked eye, they look the same, but the key difference is that the basketball model has enhancements in place on the upper and collar for added support and structure, while the Quantum lifestyle model doesn't. The Teal Blues are a lifestyle shoe. However, there are a couple of design elements in place that suggest that these things were designed with basketball in mind, and I'll be going over them in a bit. Majority of the uppers are made of a mix of gray prime knit with streaks of teal blue with a gray suede overlay on the toe area. On the other hand, the tongue and ankle collar are made of neoprene. For a bit of structure, you get a hard heel counter with reflective detailing that extends all the way down to the midsole. When I first tried them on, there were a few things that surprised me. One, the tongue doesn't really move, but since the tongue and the ankle collar are made of neoprene, it wasn't hard to get my feet in the shoes. The way these are constructed, it's like wearing a shoe with an internal booty. That's due to the neoprene tongue and something you can't see from the outside. It turns out there's a layer of lining under the prime knit which I'm assuming was intended to add structure. It's nothing restrictive like a cage, just a lining that's soft yet textured enough to keep your feet from moving around unnecessarily. In terms of fit, I got these in a size 9.5, which is also a size I wear in other Yeezy models I own. Adidas recommends to get them in a half size bigger than what you normally wear from the brand, and from my experience, I would follow that recommendation. I found the Quantums to be more on the wide side. Since they were designed with basketball in mind, the width probably compensates for the lack of a proper outrigger to prevent rolling your ankles when suddenly stopping. In terms of length, the allowance I have is really small, but it's no deal breaker though, because of the way these shoes are built, your feet won't be sliding up and your toes won't be jamming into the top portion of the shoe. Two things play a key role here: the inner lining of the prime knit and the heel cup. The heel cup especially. What you don't see is that it's sculpted and loaded with textured pillows to support the ankles and the Achilles area. Ideally, when you lace these up, the support comes from the heel cup. As they are, for playing basketball, you would probably get shots up in these shoes, but I wouldn't recommend them for any serious competitive play. The midsole itself is mostly translucent to show off the boost cushioning in a subtle way. It's encapsulated, so the boost doesn't get to expand as much, but in terms of step-in comfort, it's certainly there. You don't get the entire benefits of boost when it's sealed in a midsole like this, but since these were designed initially for basketball, the little you give up in comfort gets made up for in stability. Moving on to the outsole, it's nothing fancy. Creamy in color, nicely spaced out herringbone traction pattern for good grip in all directions. A lot of great basketball shoes use herringbone style traction in one form or another, so sneakerheads obsessed with performance will be glad to know that. For my first steps in them, the rubber compound seems to be pretty grippy, but I'll see how things go when I get more time in them. Going back to what I said earlier, the Quantums were the only new Yeezys I was interested in getting this year. I'm glad they don't disappoint. The design might not be for everybody, but getting them in hand and discovering the shoe's hidden features shows you how considered these are in terms of design. If you're interested in picking up a pair, now is a great time because these aren't moving as fast in terms of retail. Before I move on to the next part of the video, here are a few on-feet looks so you guys can get a better idea of how the Quantums will look. Now that you guys have seen the review, I just want to share my thoughts on the Yeezy line and how it's moving forward. Aside from the Quantums, I wasn't really interested in any of the other new Yeezy shoes this year. It's probably a design direction thing, but if you look at all of the shoes that have released up to this point, there's a definite evolution in the design language, which I'm not sure I'm on board with. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the direction is bad, it's just not for me. Just look how far the 700 V3 is compared to the original 700. I found the Quantums interesting because they were designed from the perspective of addressing needs related to a certain sport and not just a lifestyle shoe. I'm happy I have a pair now, so I think I can chill for the rest of the year. A lot of people also say that the Yeezy line is dead, or at the very least, it's slowing down in terms of hype, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. Of course, you'll have people who are moving on to what's hot in sneakers now, and with that going on, more and more Yeezys are coming out compared to how things were in the earlier days. So that makes the chances of people who missed out before much higher to get the shoes they like. They may not be seen as cool or trendy anymore by random people on the internet, but you don't need anybody's validation when it comes to getting the shoes you like. So do remember that whenever it is you're thinking of adding another pair of shoes to your collection. And with that, it's a wrap for this episode of Footnotes. Thanks so much for tuning in to my review. If you liked it, do hit like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell to stay updated on Footnotes, the current rotation where we talk about the sneakers we've been wearing, and of course, our namesake podcast. Do you guys want to see more reviews? Or do you want to share your thoughts on the Yeezy line? Let me know in the comment section below, because we definitely love to hear from you. Once again, my name is Mykee. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you all in the next one.